Okay, Wednesday, 21st of February, 2024. So, my experience of writing a novel. So, years ago, back in maybe 2016, 2017, I had this ambition, beginnings of ambition, a desire, a passion, actually really even as early as 2006, to write fiction. I write both really. But in 2016, I'd already written a few non-fiction books on psychology and money and marketing, other things like that. So I understood the very basics and principles of writing and publishing and using what was called CreateSpace, but now it's called just KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP. And so I wanted to get into writing fiction for the fun of it, for the adventure, the excitement, the creativity. It's just fun. It's cool. It's a nice little asset to have. It's just exciting, just for the fun of it. So I delayed that idea for weeks and months and years and years. You know, I'll do it later. I'll do this. I'll sort that out. Or I can do it in the background, whatever else. And I didn't really start properly writing until November, December 2019. I'm quite sure it was then 2019. Yes, that was an interesting tipping point that pushed me into like, let's do it, just dive into it. I had some research and some things here and there, done books and videos, whatever else, and I thought just go straight into it. And then in 2020, from January, February, March, April until I want to say August. Yes, August, I wrote my first novel. It is a coming-of-age story, science fiction, of a boy named Adrian who turns 13, and as growing up, he goes with his grandfather, on a trip to the moon on a homemade rocket. That was the general idea. And the idea really was not fleshed out at all. It wasn't really, there was no great characterization. The dialogue was mediocre, let's say. The events were, unexciting, but I wrote it. I finished it, and it's online. It's on Wattpad, and I put it out there. So I tried. I did it. I also, before doing this, I did a few little experiments and tests where I'd take like a video and I would write my own novelization practice of what I see on screen to get pacing down, to get practice really, to get training with it. And I remember taking the 2003 Star Wars, I think Clone Wars, not the Clone Wars, but Clone Wars 2D animation. The whole volume 1, I guess, and it's like an hour-long video of like small little clippets here and there, like 5 minutes long, 1 hour in total. And I did that. I must have got about, it's 2 hours in total, 2 volumes. I must have got at least halfway through it, so at least 1 hour of novelization. So practice. I did that over the course of say a month or something, or 2 months, I can't remember. And then I did my novel, A Birthday on the Moon. That's it, Birthday on the Moon, the one I finished in August. And I also tried to approach agents, that's it, to get it published. Now, of course, in hindsight, the book was not going to get published. It was dreadful. It was dreadful at best. Okay, there was no real characterization. It was very mediocre. The plot, it was just events after events. You could really critique it and say it's just terrible in every single way. Fine, fair enough. But I did it. I tried. And I also heard that people say your first novel is always a self-reflection of you. You're really writing about your own life in a way. And I guess in some remote way I was, but also at the same time I wasn't really creative. So I just wrote just the first thing that came to my mind. I wasn't really delving deep into imagination. And it was just like, yeah, his name's Adrian, because my name's Adrian. Okay, he goes to the moon because it's a cool idea. It's like a mix of Rick and Morty / Wallace and Gromit a Grand Day Out, the very first claymation in 1985 or 87, but irrelevant. Rick and Morty, Wallace and Gromit, and also in a way, ever so slightly, a bit of Tintin in there as well. Fair enough. Okay, so I tried. And then after that, I had the idea of trying to be much more disciplined and formulaic and like really pushing for it. So I had the idea of every day I did this for a good few weeks, I believe. Every day, write 1,000 words of anything. Just practice 1,000 words of anything. Just practice, practice, practice. Write. And I had these story prompts, these like world engines and story engines, these different combinations of things I could work with and use for ideas and to get writing. Just put anything out there. And I remember in 2020, I want to say 2022, but why 22? I can't remember exactly. Why not 2021? I can't remember. To be honest. Okay. But 21, I didn't write. I stopped for a while. Okay. And then I went back into it in 2022, more sincerely, more earnestly. So I was writing, I had the idea of writing, as many books as I could for that year on Kindle, publish them on Kindle, short stories. And I wrote one short story using those prompts, and it's on Wattpad as well. A Ghost and His Gold. That's it. It was about a ghost that was helping one helping one good-hearted grave robber and undermining this bad-hearted grave robber to find his wealth. Something lines of that. Now, I really tried better and tried harder with that one to really write and improve, and characterization, trauma, and all these other concepts. I really tried hard. Of course, it gets better and better. And I think I was writing other short stories as well, like 1,000 words in there, just to practice any old thing. And then I started, I can't remember when, February, March, something like that. I then started writing my second novel, so to speak, Prince David and the Wrath of Yonti-Mominus. Yeah, nice title, Yonti-Mominus. Yeah. And it was about this prince of some kingdom, fantasy, prince of some kingdom there, where he has to join forces with a wizard, let's say, to defeat this demon that's coming up and this invasion that's going to happen. And, things happen along the way, turning points in life, the typical hero's journey. And the initial idea for that story was like, say, this big. It was this, and this, these key beats. But amazingly, as I was writing it, I kept realizing that I need a new character here. I need to expand this. I need to include this. I need to edit that. I need to include this section here. Adding, and it was just ballooned and ballooned and ballooned. And at first, I thought there will be 35,000 words, and it just ballooned into like 100 or 90 or 80, something like that. And the first one, The Birthday on the Moon, was in the end 80,000. And The Ghost and His Gold was only a few thousand, say 3,000, I really can't remember. And this one ballooned into 100,000 words. And there was a whole B story of drama in the court. There was a third character I didn't plan on introducing, which I imagined would be like Bronn from Game of Thrones. I introduced this like Bandit King at the end, this whole guy there, and they introduced this like battle scene at the end, which I felt partially inspired from Terry Pratchett's Carpet People, in a way. And it just expanded here and there, and there's a scene where the character meets God in some fashion, so all sorts of crazy things like that. And I remember writing one scene of some peasants that were going to revolt, and I wanted to write them, even though they were like peasants and farmers, whatever else, they were really educated and quite eloquent in their speaking. So real paradox, and that I felt was partially inspired from Terry Pratchett as well. So I had the idea with that one, just to write it and publish it and put it out there. And I really wanted to do like a series of different stories, like one whole universe with different characters, very much like Terry Pratchett, really inspired from him. And I also while working on those short stories and novellas, so to speak, 20, 30,000 word stories, I wanted to write a series of loads of short stories, 2, 3, 4,000 words, based on these prompts that I had. That would help me get a unique combination to create a story. A bit formulaic, but I'd be trying to make something original. So I really wanted to publish these things and get them out there. And I was planning to publish them on on Kindle, on Amazon, on Kindle, paperback, hardback, easy stuff. Just click, copy and paste, data entry, easy stuff. But the writing is the vast majority of the work. The uploading to the platform is data entry, easy stuff. So, but then I got an issue with Amazon in April, May, June around that time, certainly April, I really can't remember, but I had an issue with it, and then I had to change my direction slightly. I had some plans really to start helping clients teach English, educate English, but I had plans to start that in December or January 23, January 23, but I ended up starting that in June instead, or April or June that year in 2022. Yes, instead. Fair enough. And so since then, I haven't really written anything. The idea is still there, the ambition is still there, the dream is still there. And I know I can do it. I've done it before, I've done it twice, so I know physically I can do it. And here, if we just look above, just up here, I have loads of books on, 5, 7 books on writing, including Robert McKee Dialogue and Story. Oh, amazing books. Dialogue especially. Well, yeah, in their own way, both of them. But yes, so I can do it, and I got the research. And this another book that was extremely useful was the writer's unofficial guide to Harry Potter. That was a really insightful book, and on Kindle. And I must have read it at least once. I remember studying it, and I have this whole Word document. It's like 200-300 pages long on all kinds of research and concept and ideas and things. And even when I was reading Harry Potter, I was writing down notes like, I like how the way she's written this, or this sentence, or that, this thing here, this characterization, this plot, how it works here and there, the page, which book, whatever else. Things like that. So I had some real serious stuff. And I had plans to read other fiction as well. I mean, I've still got plans to read fiction now in general, for other reasons. Mainly books like Dostoevsky and Tolstoy, because those books have been highly recommended to me. But I'm currently reading a book on the history of the Canary Islands, but it's in Spanish. Fair enough. So writing, I mean, it's amazing. It's an amazing form of expression and creativity, and I absolutely love it. So right now, I mean, I can't publish directly the same way I used to do onto Amazon and other places, but another alternative way is I'm planning to combine my writing ambition and skill with the business that I'm currently building in terms of education. So using fiction to teach English as a language to adult ESL students, English as a second language students, especially Spanish native speakers. Okay, very nice. So because years ago, I got this very interesting book. Where is it? Here somewhere. I'm sure it's here. Strange. Can't find it. Well, there was this amazing book that I had called, in German, The Third Hand, Die Dritte Hand. And it's an A1, A2 German book about a criminal, crime, whodunit kind of thing. And I remember reading that. This is 2015, 16, and I could speak basic German back then. And I was understanding it and reading it, and it was quite good challenge. And I realised that I can do this exact thing. I can extrapolate this and do this nowadays with my writing skills for teaching English. So write the story in English using A1, A2 language, aimed at Spanish speakers, with having words in Spanish, translations and questions in Spanish. Very, 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 very easy. It's just a question of distribution and profit, making the money. If I can't use Amazon, I have to use my own platform. If I have to use my own platform, then that means I need to build the audience, build the loyalty, build the fan base. Fair enough, there's ways, but that's a very long way. It's a very long way, but with solid foundations, a much stronger long-term strategy than putting things out there and hoping they sell on Amazon. So you could argue it's a blessing in disguise having some issues with Amazon. Fair enough. So I have to focus on my own business. Fair enough. So now the idea is build a business, then start to create content, educational content, books for them on that platform, and sell the books in some fashion, like print on demand or PDF in some fashion. Yeah, by all means. Things like that. There are ways. There's a lot of things I can do, and the more innovative the more I think, the more creative means I will come up with. I'm quite confident. So yes, so writing, I love it. Absolutely love it. It's great fun, and highly recommend it if you want to get into it and learn and study, and it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I plan to continue, and what I plan to create content for my clients. I plan to write with it, and I plan also to use ChatGPT in ways for advice and editing and prompt ideas and whatever else, and coming up with concepts and helping with character design and characterization, whatever else. Not writing it for me. That's very important as a good standard, but helping me, giving me ideas. Because interestingly, I never really had writer's block when I was writing it. Now, I could be looking for rose-tinted glasses, but looking back, I remember I had no real issues with it. No real issues. I remember just putting the right kind of music for the right kind of scene that I was writing. So music. So I was imagining it and trying to articulate it into words, and just editing. And it was very focused work. I remember at the end of the day, I would spend a good 40 minutes writing. It was amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Love it. So yes, if you have that passion for writing, go for it. I have no regrets. I want to do more. I will improve. It's going to take time. Build an audience and creating things by all means. But step by step, it's all part. Writing, for my ambition, my goal, writing is all part. It's only a little small section of this big thing I want to create. This educational ecosystem. And writing is one fun, creative aspect of it. Fair enough. And there's a lot to do. So one thing at a time, bit by bit. So amazing. Writing, love it. But otherwise, you will see me tomorrow.